Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome back to another episode of Steelers Stat Geek Q&A. I messed that up. Stat Geek Q&A, or whatever we are. We're the geeks. We're the stat guys. We're doing Q&A this time. Oh, Rich, help me out. Bail me out here.
Well, as you established in the last show, apparently I'm a super geek, so we'll just super geek out here and.
Yeah, you're a super geek.
Yeah.
Oh, super geek.
Don't go there.
You're super geeky.
Yes, you're a dork. That's what you are. Jeez. You know what? Something came on the rail last night, and what was it? Oh, and I started to. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, nobody would do kitchen karaoke with me last night while we were cooking dinner. But I know you would have done. Bismarcky's just a friend with me.
That's my ringtone. that's my ringtone. No, when someone's calling me, that's my ringtone. I also think of my text tone, which is for everyone but my wife, or for Jefferson. It's a Jawa from Star Wars is my text tone, the Utini. But for my wife, hers is the clock from the TV show 24, because that was a show we used to enjoy together. Mm-hmm. But I had to give Jeff his own text tone because otherwise I needed to know when I heard from him, because it could be important. So Jeff, being the boss, his ringtone is the theme from Who's the Boss, which kind of got annoying at first, but it's pretty good now. I don't know why we're talking about this, but yes, I would have busted.
Well, if you want to talk about ringtones, my ringtone is the theme music from Pittsburgh Dad videos.
Yeah, yes, it is. do. Sorry. If you missed the last show because you're just coming in now, we had a really good time with BTSC writer and new podcaster to Just the Podcast Forum, Michael Beck. His podcast, The Live Mike, he's working on that now. He already had an interview with Chase Claypool on the website a couple weeks, or right? Has it been a couple weeks? I don't know. Time is working differently in my brain right now.
Time is relative.
Yeah. So because he knew Chase Claypool, because they're actually both from similar area in Canada, and then he did his first podcast was last week, which was very good and informative. And this week's coming up. He got a short interview with Tuzar Skipper. So that's going to be available on the website later on this week, probably at the end of either the very end of this week or the beginning of next week, depending on when we can get all the audio sorted out and done together. And he had to leave. He couldn't come for the second show because he was interviewing Joe Runner from the Trib. To talk about stuff with Steelers. So we're going to get going here. We're going to, we might have to talk more about this, kitchen karaoke later on after we talk about, this is the first I've had a chance to talk to you since they released the 2020 schedule.
Yep.
And it's funny because
I hit you on the schedule show, but I don't know if you caught me.
Yeah, no, I saw you in the live chat.
Just checking. Because
you said exactly what I thought. Now, as you all know, I'm a season ticket holder. And then last year you went in with a friend of mine to season tickets. It's kind of interesting how things are going to work this year. We just don't know. Are they going to have fans in stadiums? Are they going to have full stadiums? How are the season ticket holders? Are they going to be allowed to have all the games? What are they going to do? We don't know. We really don't know.
We don't.
But any other year, I would have seen this schedule as a season ticket holder and just been absolutely ecstatic.
Yeah.
Because what out of the Steelers' 8 regular season home games, 7 of them are what I missed last year, which is 1:00 games. I went to 4 games last year, including the preseason, and I did not get to a single 1:00 game.
Really? Bummer for you.
Well, the part of the reason I wanted to go to the last game of the season and go with one Brian Anthony Davis was because, and you and your daughter, that was great. Was I wanted to finally get to go to a game that was at 1:00 because I didn't get any of them earlier in the season. The preseason, none of them were 1:00, and that's what I like to do with my youngest. Well, I say my youngest daughter. She's my only daughter. She's my oldest child, but with my daughter, who's younger than your daughter. Preseason is a good thing to go with her because it's not as crowded. I feel like I can keep a better eye on her and not as less distracted. She can enjoy it. We can spread out. Just had a great time. That's 2 years in a row we've done that. Don't know if I'll get to do that again this year. But then I went to the Monday night game because our dad decided he wanted to go to another game after a few years off because he said he'd never gone to a Monday night game. And I'm like, a chance to go to one more game with Dad? I jumped at that. So we were at the Dolphin game. Then you and I hit the Rams game. We were supposed to go to the Colts game, but we switched that up with our brother-in-law because I didn't want to have to go to 2 games in 6 days, which was a 4:25 game, which was my early game. And then that Buffalo game got moved, and it was just brutal. But the
that
Steelers,
Buffalo game getting moved killed us all because, I thought that was a great one. I was taking my daughter to, hey, 1 o'clock, we get up, we get to Pittsburgh, we get home at a decent hour. So much for that.
Yeah. And the thing was, for those people that weren't there, didn't know, we like to take the Gateway Clipper. It's part of the experience to just go and ride in on the river. Because they changed the game time, it seemed like Gateway Clipper was not prepared. They were not running nearly as many boats as they do at the end of a game. It took longer to get back to Station Square than it ever has for any game I've been to before.
But I still used my sneakiness for being one of the last people on the boat and one of the first people off the boat.
Yeah, we were one of the first ones off, though. But, man, it took forever for that boat to get there. I mean, we didn't leave the parking garage till 1 a.m. That's what happened with that. And then therefore we didn't get ahead of the snow. So rather than get ahead of the snow, we were in the snow, and I didn't get home till 5. It was just brutal.
We were after 3. We were 3 or 3:30, and thank goodness, for the snow, because out here in the mountains we got enough of it that everything got canceled for the next day. I didn't have to go to work. Alice didn't have to go to school.
Yep, that's the way to do it. Yeah, it was. It was rough. Luckily, Brian Anthony Davis was driving, so I got to write my article on my phone in the car, which was always a challenge. But we like those 1 o'clock games, and they got a lot of them at home.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if we'll get to enjoy that as fans. So at this point,
I'm just looking at the schedule for what it is right now, and I'll figure out the rest of it later.
Yeah. So that's us. That's us as fans, as season ticket people, as people that attend games. I think there's a pre-sale with games going on this Friday, and the way they're working with Ticketmasters, if games get canceled or if they have to reduce the number of seats, you'll get reimbursed. I would try to get your tickets, but at the same time, you got to understand that it's not. Or
you might have tickets, but you're not at the game until you're at the game.
Exactly, and it depended on how things work out, and if they don't sell other tickets, or if I just don't know. I might have tickets available. I might not have any tickets for this year. It all just kind of, we'll wait and see. But the most important thing is we want them playing football games. I don't care if the only people in the stadium is the press. We want to see action on the football field because, as we know, football games aren't played on paper; they're played inside TV sets. So, who was that? Who was that quote? Was that? I think that was Van Pelt. On Sports Center years ago.
I think you're probably right. It sounds like what he did.
Might have been Kenny Mayne.
Could have really liked about the schedule. You had the one home, I guess you'll call it primetime game. Mm-hmm. Ironically enough, if I was going to do a primetime game, that's the one I'd probably try to do. Mm-hmm. Because at least it's on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, my thing is I always end up doing 2 Thanksgivings. It'll be interesting this year if I do any Thanksgivings. I'm assuming hopefully by then we can at least travel and be with family. And that's just another one of those games I'm going to have to work. But that's real interesting. But once again, the Steelers, I think this, I had it written down at one point. I think this is the 6th year in a row they do not open at home. I'm starting to wonder if they are asking for this, if that's one of their requests is to open on the road. Because unless they are putting in a specific request because they think maybe it's easier for, I don't know why they'd want to do it. But other than that, I can't figure out why they're constantly getting road games to open. So they open on the road. They open on Monday Night Football. Jeff hates that because he's like, you have to wait all day Sunday and all day Monday to finally get to see the Steelers play. Yeah. That's the negative. But the positive is I get to go into opening week, assuming that everything's still going on regularly. And I don't have to worry about the Steelers that first day, and I can kick back and I can turn on Red Zone.
Football, not have to worry about
watch every game going on, not have to worry about covering stuff, and just take in the whole rest of the league, and then get to enjoy the Steelers the next night. So, I kind of dove into that. What I wanted to do is I'm going to ask you, and I'll keep the eye on the live chat. We'll get into some questions here soon. But for those of you who throw this out, here's the first question. I'm going to ask you, Rich, and then we're going to see what the live chat says.
Okay.
What's the one game that jumps out of you? What's the game that you are like that probably gets you the most excited, or is the one that you're like, yes, I'm really looking forward to that one particular game? What right. Is there a game on the schedule that fits that for you?
Just something that I found interesting. It was the first thing that popped out to me was week 3 Texans at home.
Okay, that's a good one.
Because how can you not love getting the 3 Watt brothers together? I mean, that's just going to be chaos and gold for you all as writers potentially, to have that out there to talk about. It just adds a whole extra twist to the game.
That's a good choice. That's a big one. A lot of people are saying they like that's early on in the season, just in case JJ or any one of them gets hurt, right. That they're hoping that's actually going to happen. And I'm also glad that it's not the home opener, but it's the week after the home opener. That's a good one. A good one. I'm really excited about week 1. I'm really excited about primetime game. I know I'm going to get to watch it. The last time the Steelers were on Monday Night Football in week 1 and the early game, it was against the NFC East, and they traveled to Washington. And that was probably the best start to a game in week 1 that the Steelers have had in a long time. That they came out in that game and actually played pretty well from the beginning. So I don't know if it was the extra week. I don't know if it was the prime time. I don't know what. But for some reason, all the other week 1s, it seems like, they're kind of easing it. I mean, like the last time they played at home was when they beat Cleveland on a last-second field goal when they were up. I think they won. I think it was 27. Was it 27-0 or 27-3 or something crazy at halftime, and they ended up winning 30-27 on a last-second field goal. Mm-hmm. So whether they started faster in that one, or maybe Cleveland just started slow, and then it still ended up being a tight game and like not a lot to instill confidence in the team. The last time I felt confident about the Steelers was that 2016 season. 2016, I'm correct? Yeah, it should be 2016 season when they opened in Washington. So that's kind of the reason why I'm kind of excited about them going on the road to New York, opening up on Monday Night Football. What I saw a lot in the live chat was one that was going to be my next one is that at Heinz Field on Thanksgiving night against the Ravens.
Yeah.
So to me, that the memories that invokes with me is at Heinz Field night game. It wasn't night game. It was an afternoon game, technically a late afternoon game on Christmas Day. Like the last time they played the Ravens on a holiday, that was that big Christmas Day game that they won at the last second with the Immaculate Extension. The stretch that saved Christmas, however you want to say it. That was a great game. But the last time they played the Ravens on Thursday night on Thanksgiving, not so much. But I usually don't like Thursday night home games because of the whole ticket issue. But this one, with it being Thanksgiving, I think might be a little bit different. I think fans are going to be more willing to go to that one because most of them have off the next day. So that's a good one. And I like, if you're going to be playing at home if you're going to be playing on a short week, playing at home is better. So if they're going to be at home, the Ravens are going to have to travel. And if I remember correctly, I think the Ravens are coming off playing Tennessee the week before. So I'm hoping maybe Tennessee.
I don't remember who it was.
I only know that because I have a friend who's a big Titans fan who already wanted me to go to Nashville to watch the game with the Steelers. I'm like, it's actually a friend of mine that went with me to the Patriots game 2 years ago, and I'm like, I don't think I can. I'm like, I struggle just with doing my games at home, let alone going to away games. But
I know, but I do like the stadium at Nashville. That's the stadium.
You toured that stadium.
Toured the stadium, toured the locker rooms, got to go out on the field, toured the practice facility. That was actually pretty cool. And honestly, the people that worked at the stadium that day when they're just as nice as could be, man. Just a group of work friends. Somebody had a connection. We went and they were giving us all kinds of free stuff, and it was great.
Yeah, if you get a chance to tour any NFL stadium, it doesn't matter who you're a fan of. Of course, Heinz Field is great, but take advantage of that just to kind of see how things work. So, all right, another one that I saw in the live chat that was brought up was people are looking forward to that game at Buffalo. That actually would fit for me, not the main one, but that would fit more in the next category. And that is there any game on the schedule that you look at and you're just like, yeah, that one's going to be a tough one. I don't like playing in that place at that time with that going on. Anything like that jump off?
Same way playing that team at that time of year, that late in the year. Mm-hmm. Buffalo, pretty physical team. Mm-hmm. You never know what you're going to get for weather up there. Just who knows? That game. You don't know what it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know the weather, the cold. Pittsburgh is used to deal with bad weather, but Buffalo has a potential to be a whole different monster.
Yep, it does.
Yeah. That's another one of those games. Buffalo's so close. Do they fly? Do they take the bus like they do to Cleveland? I mean, it's not much more.
You fly to Buffalo.
But it's not that much farther than Cleveland.
I know. But
so just one of those questions I ask. I think they usually do fly to Buffalo when they go. So that's an interesting one. Honestly, week 7, I'm glad it's right before the bye. I'm glad that they get a bye after this game of just having to go to that putrid purple stadium and play that game against people, that would be the most, if we're still staying at home at that time of the calendar, it would kind of stink. But that would be one game I'd be happy that I wouldn't have to go out and hear anybody from around here have to say anything about that game. It's a hard place to play. The Steelers typically do not play well in Baltimore. I've gone to one game there. That was the game when the Steelers were rolling and the Ravens were putrid and Flacco was injured and they go in there and freaking lost to Ryan Mallett. And I was at that game and it was just ridiculous. So honestly, anytime they have to go to Baltimore, that's one on the schedule that I like that. I know that I'll be able to watch that game.
They have to go to Baltimore. They have to go to Baltimore every year, dude.
I know, but regardless of when they go on the schedule, I look at that part of the schedule and I'm just like, but at least the first time you see them, it's in their place. And if you manage to squeak that one out, then that's just bonus from that point on, because that's the game they are favored. They are favored to lose the most, I guess I should say, where they're the biggest underdog.
There you go.
Is there in Baltimore. So I'm trying to see if there was anything else. Joe said he was at that game too. In the live chat of that game in Baltimore. That was just, yeah. And I don't like the, once I went to that game after having Steelers season tickets, I don't ever want to go to another road game. Give me Renegade, give me overwhelming. I mean, even though the Steelers can take over a stadium like in Jacksonville or in LA, it's not the same when it's not the scoreboard sometime too. Although, they tried to do the Rickroll thing with Renegade when they played the Chargers and it completely backfired on them. So any other game that stands out to you?
No, not particularly. Not any more than any other game. The one, like I said, the first couple, the ones that really jumped out to me are kind of the ones we talked about. The two with Baltimore, the opener on Monday night. I mentioned the Texans game. Maybe the only other one out there is the game at Dallas.
That was going to be my other one. I don't like it. It's funny. People are like, oh, that's better. They're going to Dallas off the bye. The Steelers are notoriously slow coming out of the bye. They are. There's something that I'm wanting to look up something for my own. I don't know if it'd be good for an article or just something to throw out on the as a trivia. But I mean, last year showed you. I'm thinking all the way back to 2006. What it showed us. I'm thinking about the Steelers' last playoff game. You notice sometimes when teams have extended rest, it's not good. I mean, teams that rest their quarterback in week 17 and have a bye in the playoffs and come out the next week, not good. Not good.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't work out well for the Ratbirds this year. Didn't work out well for the Steelers in 2017. Didn't work out too well for the Colts back in 06. Well, I keep saying 06. The year was 2006. It was a 2005 season. Sorry that I threw that out there. When the Steelers took them out in the playoffs early. So that's interesting. I also find it interesting. How about that preseason game against Tampa? Tom Brady's first game with Tampa, and he's got to go to Heinz Field. Although I doubt he plays even a snap.
Yeah,
I just think it's funny.
Brady.
Yeah, so Steelers fans are going to get to see. Well, if any fans can be there, they will get to see Tom Brady.
If Tom Brady's there and plays, he plays one series. It goes handoff for 2 yards, handoff for 2 yards, incomplete pass on purpose, punt. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. So, with the Steelers only having 4 primetime games, do you see any game on the schedule you think could be flexed, where the Steelers could end up with an additional primetime game?
I was looking at that there towards the end of the season. There's always the possibility, but it also depends on what the teams they're playing against, what they're doing. So those are very tough to predict. Because don't we have a game against the Browns late or something? Browns
at Cleveland last week of the season.
Right. Let's say that was a game where it was, winner gets in, loser goes home. That's a game that could be that they could easily flex, but we would have to be in that position. So it's hard to guess that flex game this early on.
Yeah. I mean, some people were saying, oh, well, you got late in the season, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati in prime time. Maybe they'll flex that one. That's a Monday night game. It can't be. They can't change days. So a lot of people are saying, look at that Colts game. That could really have some play in week 16, next to last week of the season at Pittsburgh. Could really have some playoff implications.
Those last two are the two where I can see something happening, but it would have to,
But the two right before both primetime games. The Steelers are playing Sunday night at Buffalo, and then the next week they're Monday night at Cincinnati. They got to turn around and go 3 straight primetime games. The NFL doesn't care; they'll do it, but
they probably won't.
Yep. Mark throws some good old Australian money from down under in the super chat. For those of you who don't know the super chat,
check the conversion rate on that.
Yeah. Type if you ever want to use the super chat feature. From what I understand, you got to type your comment first, or it might not come up. Oh shoot! I never got Just Me's comment from the last show. They were supposed to tell me something.
She never said something on the show, and she hasn't said anything here that I've seen.
Okay, thanks for letting me know.
Oh wait, I think about. She said hi, Kathy, at one point.
There you go. But Mark brings up $4.99 in super chat thrown into the pot. Type that in, donating the amount of money you want to the show. He says Big Ben owns the most wins in Cleveland. 11. Baker has 8. Yeah. Big Ben has won more games in Cleveland than any quarterback for the Browns since the Browns came back. It's crazy. It's good stuff. So not only that, not just more wins, just the higher winning percentage and everything. Big Ben is the winningest quarterback in Cleveland since they've come back into the NFL, which is pretty funny. So, That's crazy. So yeah, 99. Thank you. Since 99, Mark. So with that, is there anything else about the schedule you want to say? Did you have any record prediction?
Oh, no, I watched your guys' show on the whole record, on your whole, record prediction thing. Let's see. I'm trying to remember who were the two. Was it Lance and Brian Anthony Davis? They were the low ones, right? At 11 and 5.
11 and 5. I was going to go 11-5, but honestly,
see, y'all probably would have hated me because I probably put one more out there. I probably see us at 10 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if we get lucky, 11 and 5.
Yeah, that's that. My thing is I'm like, I want to see this. It comes down to if the Steelers split with the Ravens. I think is a lot of
me put something else up there. You better pop it up on the screen.
Yeah, I'll see it. Let's see.
You might as well put up there.
No comment. Doing $5 more. Says no comment.
No comment.
Just love you guys. Hey, we love you guys in the live chat. I'm about
ready. We can entertain. We're glad we can not just talk Steelers, but hopefully make you all realize what geeks we are and get a good laugh out of it too.
Yeah, I mean, remember this is our brother time that we get every week. So I'm throwing it out there now. If anyone has questions, or if you want to throw out your predictions on the Steelers record, or just any questions or any thoughts, I am now paying attention to you all for the first few comments until we get behind. Is just kind of how it is. So Ryan has something already. I'm going to bring it up.
That's a good one to bring up.
I messed it up. That brought up Ezra's by mistake. Lance throws the tie in there, of course.
Yeah, I saw that.
So Ryan says, if the season has limited fans in stadiums, do you think the NFL will do away with the stupid blackout rule? Tired of having to watch the Ravens here and there in PA. Bottom line is, they can't have a blackout rule if they're limiting the number of tickets.
Correct.
The blackout rule is when you have unsold tickets. So the Steelers have never had that as a problem now, if you're talking about blacking out because of not selling out games, if you're talking about just getting your team in coverage, I'd like to see if the NFL gets creative. I mean, there's a lot of great things that are happening with streaming and with other things that companies are doing during this time because things are off. Like, I don't know if my brother's family, his wife and daughter heard the news. Even Disney Plus is releasing the releasing the Disney Plus Hamilton on July the 3rd.
Oh, really?
They're going to have that was supposed to come out in the fall. And now it's going to be on Disney Plus then. And a lot of things like that, movies that have gone straight to streaming and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they work out something with the streaming services or something else to get people access to more games.
One of the reasons I initially got my Sirius XM satellite radio when I was living down in Williamsburg was so that I could at least listen to the Steeler games every week, even if I didn't get them on TV. And the best part about listening to them, sometimes I still just listen to them when I'm here if I got other things to do. Like a couple years ago, Kyle had a bunch of baseball games on Sundays in the fall, and I just,
had got to listen.
I'm coaching, so I'm only wearing one. But listen to the game. The best part about that is, it's Bill Hillgrove and Tun Elkin and Craig Wolfley and all those guys on that. So that's pretty cool too. So there's plenty of ways you can get the data. I mean, it's so much better now than when we were kids. Although we were lucky because we lived in, all our TV. We got basically every Steeler game.
And Pirates
and
games.
I'm pretty lucky now. I pretty much get every Steeler game now. So.
Yeah. So, the only time you have to worry about it is if it gets switched to Fox or something like that.
Right. So
we'll see how that turns out. That's really up in the air, but a lot of stuff is up in the air. But I think I for the most part, a lot of these companies and everything are doing things. They're erring on the side of making things easier for people when they can. Let's throw up a few of these. Joshua Shields says 12-4. That was my prediction. If you would just ask me for a record without the matchups, I probably would have given you either 10-6 or 11-5. But when I went through game by game, it just seemed to work out that way. Steeler fan 74, he has 11-5. Let's see what else. Any other questions? Mark Davidson says that the Steelers and Bengals are 10-0, soon to be 12-0. That's another stat that he loves to throw out there. That's a good one too. North Top says, does Canada set up at OC when Fichtner leaves? That's a pot. I'm cautiously optimistic about everything with Matt Canada. I love the whole notion of this, but at the same time, I think Steeler fans got spoiled with what happened last year. They bring in Terrell Austin. They trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Next thing you know, the defense looks completely different. And they think, oh, just by adding an extra coach to the offense, it could make a world of difference. It could. But the thing is, was that the exception or was that the rule? If it's the rule, then adding Canada would really help. If it's the exception, then the Steelers have to catch lightning in a bottle twice, which they could. I don't know, but I think it'll just be interesting to see. I'm just happy that there'll be a designated quarterbacks coach that's not also the offensive coordinator.
Right.
Okay. Here we go. Joe wants to know, do you think the Steelers would have had more success over the years if Roethlisberger was more dedicated to his offseason fitness level? What do you think, Rich?
I don't know.
Yeah, in case you guys, it was a big story when Jay Glazer put that out there about Ben Roethlisberger. Not nearly the big story when he completely backtracked on it after actually talking with Ben. Ben's doing. People say that just because you are a bigger guy, he's always been Big Ben. Just because you're a bigger guy, people just assume that you don't work and you're lazy. And being a bigger guy, I really don't appreciate that. It's funny because people wanted to call me.
Work and you're lazy.
Yeah. Well, no, but people wanted to call me slow for so long just because I was big. What did I end up doing? Running cross country and track. To prove that I wasn't slow. Well, it made me not slow. Yeah, they thought I was slow until I came out there.
See, it'll end up happening now. Now we need to get you and Lance Williams together to, run 40s and see who can put up the better time.
Well, let's just say this: my junior year of football, the very first practice, they had us running how many laps around the track you could get in a certain time, and the only person they had linemen had a goal. And specialists had a goal. And the only person who finished ahead of me was someone who came from the cross-country team the year before, who was a receiver. I beat every quarterback, every running back, everybody at every position. I outran them.
I went to the same high school, and most of the people that came through there were lazy. All you had to do is not be lazy, and you could beat them.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't like the stereotype that just because you're big, you're lazy. And Ben is just built big. He is. I don't assume that he's lazy. I'm trying to get back to where I was because, hold on. I want to get back because there was something I was going to bring up. Because Robert said 19-0. Okay.
Yeah.
Donald wants to know any thoughts of who's going to replace the Monday Night Booth, the guys that got let go, Booger and Tessitore. I want to see Pat McAfee, but that's just me.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going for Lance and Jeff.
Yeah, there we go. No, they don't want that much hate coming out of there. You get enough of that. Never. I'm not going to go there. I was going to say, if you want Steelers hate, just listen to Chris Collinsworth. No, he's not nearly as bad as he used to be. Collinsworth used to be really anti-Steelers.
He's either some games you listen, you're like, oh, maybe he's not so, and then the next game you're like, oh my gosh, Collinsworth again.
Yeah, Ezra says 13-3 if we stay QB and RB healthy. After Watson, Wentz, and Lamar, we play terrible QBs. That's true. That's a very good point with the quarterback matchups. Cree asked about this. This was kind of goes into last week's show. What do you think of Highsmith getting 300 snaps, 4 sacks, and 2 INTs? I didn't have any INTs. I had pass defense. I had him getting 3 sacks because I have him between 200 and 250 snaps. he could get to 300 if there's an injury. I just don't want there to be an injury to somebody else. Let him have that Chickalo role. Let him embrace that Chickalo role for the first year and really see if he can shine with it. Because if he does, the better he does, the more snaps he's going to get, which is more rest it can get to Bud and TJ, which then just makes everybody better. But I'm not going and guessing at that. If he gets over 300 snaps this year, that's good for everybody, if it's not due to injury. So, So Robert says he's going to get Sunday ticket. If you don't have DirecTV, I guess I want to know when they're going to start doing a streaming thing for Sunday ticket. That not through DirecTV, but through a streaming service. That's something that I would really like to see them do. Because, I would get Sunday ticket. I just don't have DirecTV, so I can't. So I'd like to see that. So Aquanoob says, if Ben stays healthy, 10-5 with a trip to the Super Bowl, if he goes down 9-7 with a loss as the wild card. My thing is, I said that I had the article earlier this week about I'd like to see Mason Rudolph get the season in 2020 he should have had in 2019, one where he sits back, isn't called into. Even if you have to come in and start a couple games, that's completely different than going into week 3 knowing that you have to start it, that you're the starter for the rest of the season. In 2 regular season games, granted there was an off season, in 2 regular season games, he went from game day inactive to starter.
Yeah. In
2 regular season games. So he didn't get that in 2000 in his rookie year in 2018. So then in 2019, he was supposed to be that guy that got all the extra snaps in practice and got because you don't get much as a third quarterback. So, and that's why when people say, oh, put another quarterback, a fourth quarterback on the practice squad to save, you don't do that because they don't help you for practice. That's like people that I got in an argument last year with someone wanting to put kicker on a practice squad. I'm like, that's a complete waste unless you're dealing with a possible injury with your kicker, because you need practice squad people to actually help you practice. We're talking about practice. So, it would be really great if Mason Rudolph would be the number 2 quarterback that doesn't have to come in and play very much. He really could have benefited from that last year. So we'll see. Let's see. Let's bring up Ryan's. I didn't get to read the whole thing, so hopefully it's not bad. Do you think there's an outcome where some teams like the Chiefs are allowed to have fans and teams like the Giants or Jets aren't? Or do you think that if one team can't, they all can't? I understand with them opening the facilities that it's only fair to do it when everyone can.
Right. I agree with that.
I don't think it's fair that if somewhere like Kansas City where everything was, I don't know what each state is. I don't know. I'm just thinking of someone that's more in the middle of nowhere. So, Kansas City's in the middle of the country. That's why I thought of it. Kansas City or Pittsburgh or somewhere like that, because Allegheny County's done a fantastic job with their handling of the COVID-19 crisis. And thank goodness they finally got moved into the yellow because they deserve it with the work that they've done. If Pittsburgh's fine, why can't Pittsburgh have fans just because New York can't? I don't see that as a reason. I'm concerned about when it comes to opening up. I think that this is just me throwing this out there. I'm thinking that the NFL may look into having, if there are just only a few teams that cannot open their offices, if they can locate them in another state for the time being. Because if not, hate to say this to you, Lance, if not, California is going to screw the NFL out of having a season because they just won't open up for the sake of doing it. They're already dealing with battles with, the Tesla production and stuff like that they're saying, we're not opening until there's a cure or vaccine, which right now isn't the right answer to say right now. But what I'm saying is
there may never be.
There may never be. Well, let's not get into that. Let's sorry, I shouldn't have even gone that far.
No, but if
you have someone like California that has several teams and they're going to put the restrictions where they can't go back, you might want to think about, let's get those California teams playing in Arizona, doing their training camp and whatnot somewhere else, so everyone else can do it. Because it would be ridiculous if 30 teams have all the ability to get in the facilities and do stuff as a team and they can't, just because of one or two states holding everyone back. So I'm hoping that's what ends up happening. If that ends up being the case, what I really hope happens is that we can all move past this together as a country and get back to business as usual when it's good for everyone. So I'll just leave it at that. So,
and I know you're way up the chat, but I'm going to, yes, Lance Williams, if we want to blame California, we'll blame California.
No, the only reason I'm saying that is because that's one place that they have been vocal about saying that I've heard for sure. So,
although
because Lance wanted to know if you ever dropped an F-bomb while coaching and listening to a game.
No,
I doubt that,
because I typically don't drop F-bombs. Now, I did get mad and throw my headphones at one point, and the kids, I think that was that was a Kansas City game a couple years ago, I think. Mm-hmm. And I just got mad and chucked them, and they were like, "What's wrong?" And I'm just like, "I don't want to talk about it."
You know what? I wonder if you chucked it on that. If you're thinking about the home opener for years, when it almost got super out of hand, when they had the pick six that got called back on a questionable call. So Joe says 10-5 if Ben is okay. I think that's reasonable. So that's why Just Me says I'm a homer 15-1. So I'm leaving the drink conversations out of this.
Oh yeah, there's no reason. We're not talking that. We're talking Steelers.
Okay. So Donald says this. He's like, I don't care what their record is as long as they horse the Lombardi and get 7-7. That's true. Only one team gets a bye. It's going to be tough to get it. And then you have to ask yourself, how much is it worth it? Because some teams haven't done well with the bye. Kansas City did well with the bye. But you know what? Baltimore didn't do well with the bye.
I can go all Pittsburgh dad here saying, as long as the record isn't 8-8.
Yeah. So, but 8-8 would have got him in last year.
I know. So
here you go. Who do you think is going to have the bigger impact, Canada or Hilliard, with what they're doing?
Wow,
that's a great question. Because I still say Ike Hilliard is almost. Some people are starting to forget about that. I don't know what to expect from Hilliard. I really don't. But I don't know what to expect from Canada. I have high hopes for both of them.
But I know it's going to be tough to call this because Canada comes down to we know Canada is pretty good at seeing what he has for talent and scheming, right? Hilliard, I think it's going to come down to the relationship he builds with his wide receiving core.
Yeah. And I honestly think the best thing he has going for him is he is a been there, done that guy. He's been where they are. He's been on their side of it, and now he's on this side of it. So he can bring – so, there's a big difference there with Hilliard playing the position and for a decent stretch there, playing it very well. So here's a good one for us to answer. Youngin wants to know this. What are 2 games this year that are a first time for them that I would recommend that are a must go and get a ticket for, meaning going to Heinz Field? I'm telling you first, you got to go to Heinz Field if you're going to go. What do you think, Rich? Any games jump out? Home opener is always electric, but who knows how they're going to be with tickets for the home opener.
In terms of a game, a first time, I don't know, just going is important. But if you really want to see something interesting, that Texans game just jumps out as the one I think it would go. So, yeah.
That the Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving game has some potential. A big game right now is the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Eagles game is pretty high profile.
Yeah, that one's pretty high too.
But honestly, my favorite is weather-wise October. I love October games. 1:00 October games at Heinz Field. You are looking at, let's see, the Philly game. I'm pretty sure that's in October. The Cleveland game, that's in October. So I think there's 2 of them there. Yeah, Philly game is I think the second Sunday in October, and the Cleveland game would be the third one in October. Those are pretty nice. And even November games. Sometimes when you get December, you might have to worry about weather. So Joey Jr. wants to know, does Ben have more passing yards than Aaron Rodgers this year?
I'm still not sold exactly with what Rodgers had receivers wise. So if you really want to talk, there's the chance Ben could outdo that. Yeah. Another tough call.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how many games they play.
Ben's got to stay healthy. I'd like it if Aaron Rodgers had more because Ben has more running game. Let me go there. Yeah, it depends on why Rodgers would have more. If Rodgers has more because of an improved Steeler running game, then I'd be happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to how many games they play. If they play the same number of games, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Rodgers. And I'm going to say it not because I think he's a better quarterback. I think the Steelers have an opportunity to not have to throw the ball in the second half of games more than Green Bay. That's my prediction. That I think that the Steelers have a chance that if they can come out strong to start a game and with their defense that they're not going to trust me. I think Ben's first half stats, not first half of the season versus second half of the season. I'm saying of each game. I don't be surprised if Ben puts up 200 yards in the first half and doesn't get to 300 yards. Don't shock that. No, don't be shocked by that, because that would be a great situation for the Steelers, because that means the Steelers took care of business and then they're just controlling the ball, controlling the clock, trying to keep the defense off the field, and putting games away. That's in a perfect world, but I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. So it's funny. I see how far behind I am, mainly because I'm getting answers to question from a long time ago.
Just had a super chat pop in, so you may need to.
We have a super chat? So let's. We're going to go down. We're about out of time here, so let's hop down and grab the super chat. You guys have been great. Once again, you're always doing a wonderful job in the live chat, but you know us, we get to talking. So I didn't get to see Lance getting mad about us saying stuff about California. It was just an easy state to use because they have more than one team. I still can't find my super chat. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is.
All the way to the bottom.
I found it. Now sometimes my live chat lags. So we got it here from Youngin. Okay. There we go. He's like, you solidified my opinion. I will be there for Cleveland.
Option.
What's that?
You solidified my
option. Yeah, what am I reading? I'm still trying to read that. Hey, and I would offer you some tickets if you're interested in trying to get some good seats at a good price. But the problem is I have them for now, but I don't know. I mean, they're going to be just as legit as they would be in any other game. It would be the Steelers deciding to take them away, whether they took them from me or from you. So contact me if you're interested in some lower deck end zone seats.
Well, for both of us, since we hold season tickets and we go to a few games and we sell off some games, I'm kind of holding off on mine now for a little bit. Well, first of all, because Chuck and I haven't decided who's taking which games yet. But the second one is then until I get a little better, I want to hear a little more from the NFL in terms of how this is going to go first before I start hopping out there and selling tickets to games. But you can trust us. Dave and I will put things out there to folks that listen to our shows or read BTSC, because honestly, if I'm going to sell my tickets, I want to make sure they go to Steeler fans. I'd
rather go to a Steeler fan, and two, in order to sell them like through NFL Ticket Exchange, which is now through Ticketmaster. That's how I sell them officially through the Steelers. They take so much out of you and so much out of me that you end up paying so much more, and I end up not getting nearly as much through that I'd much rather find someone else to buy them and give the discount to you rather than Ticketmaster get the money. But at the same time, we're holding off. We're waiting to see what happens with tickets. I do know right now I do have my I do have my Thanksgiving night tickets up for sale on Ticketmaster. If someone would like to buy them from me, 2 tickets in section 122.
You're going to bail on that one. See, that's one I would consider holding on to, especially because you're already going to be up here. You're going to be closer to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but I have to go to dinner with my in-laws at 5:30.
They won't care.
That's the problem.
Go have breakfast with them instead. Then come to my house for lunch, and we'll leave right after lunch for the game.
You know, I might have to watch that game at your house because I don't know if I'll have internet anywhere else. We might have, unless you're going to that game. So, but that's one for sure. There, right now, Youngin, if you're looking at that price for the Cleveland game, my thing is because I share with my brother-in-law, we have to decide which games we're going to. My price would be lower than that.
Oh, yeah.
Slightly, but it's now that one's a little. I'll be honest with you, when you're looking at those rows, Rich and I'm giving some insight. Personally, I think if you're not in the first 3 rows of the lower deck, you're better off being 12 or more rows up.
Yep, I would
There's
agree.
that in-between zone I've sat in before I had season tickets. You're not in the front, but you're also not quite up enough. I'm 15. I think I'm 16.
You're not up enough to see the field good enough.
Yeah. That sometimes, and the lower you are, the more the people in front of you block your view. So, as well. So even if they're not standing up. So it's been a lot of fun, bro. It really has. But, and Lance had to throw this out there, of course, because I already said it. And he says, Jeff will be a zombie on that late night of that show. But it's Thanksgiving. He'll be off. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, Jeff doesn't like doing the late night shows.
Their post-game shows, man, they kill me on them because I then bounce back and forth between watching Lance and, listen to Lance and Jeff and listen to, Stan Savran and old man Charlie Batch.
Yep. That's generally Jeff and them go on after Tomlin's interview. I listen to Tomlin's interview, catch Jeff and them, and then I go back and see. And sometimes I'll even catch Savran and Batch on SNR radio in an instant repeat of it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good stuff too. And, and sometimes if I'm mad at the Steelers, I don't want to listen to any of it.
Yeah. I'm going to bed.
So yeah, I'm done. I'm going to bed. Thank you all so much. This is a great Q&A here tonight. I'm excited about the season. I have a lot of optimism because, like I've said many times, does one player make all the difference? No, but when that one player is Ben Roethlisberger, he can make everybody else a little bit better. And if everybody else is a little bit better, the whole team is a whole lot better. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm like a lot of Steelers fans are with everything, hopefully optimistic. Hopefully cautiously optimistic is what I meant to say. It's late. We ready to go, bro?
Yeah, pretty soon. Hey, you should throw your Twitter or your email or anything out there because you got some folks that might want to contact you about some games here or there. So you might want to at least throw that out there for them.
That's here you go. I'll put it as a ticker on the bottom.
Go.
There is my Twitter at STLR Superfan Dad. You can hit me up on Twitter asking about tickets. The more people that ask about tickets, that might help us, my brother-in-law and I, decide which games we want to go to. Because some of it is if someone really wants one in particular, we could maybe say, we can let go of that one. We'll do a different one. So great show with the live chat tonight. Really, always really enjoy interacting with you all. Why did I take that away? Because you guys are, whenever I'm not on the show and I'm watching another show, I'm loving the live chat just to interact with you all, just the same through the live chat. You guys really are a Steelers family. So make sure that you're checking out all the shows. We've got Lance, who is
nice. Lance hung out for both shows tonight, it seemed to be. So thanks for hanging out, Lance.
Lance will be on with Jeff tomorrow night, or at least is scheduled to be on with Jeff tomorrow night for the flagship podcast, The Standard is the Standard. We've got the Steelers preview Thursday night with myself, Jeff, and Brian. We will be back with an after party show this week. We did not have one for the last 2 weeks. One was we took a week off because we were tired from the draft, and then the next one was the schedule release special.
Mm-hmm.
Then Friday night, Lance's I Said It. We'll see if he can stir the pot even more with that one. And then Tony's Brunch with Tony on Saturdays around noon. Sunday afternoons, you get the Homer and the Hater with Jeff and Lance, and Monday with Tony and Brian on with the Steelers Q&A. I can't wait till we can call that show The Hangover again, because that show will go back to being The Hangover when we are back to having Steeler games to be hungover from. So can't wait for that one. Make sure you check it out BehindTheSteelCurtain.com for everything. If you weren't here for the earlier show, or if you didn't catch it on audio on the audio platform yet, we had Michael Beck, writer from BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, on with us. Also promoting his podcast. He should have another episode of that out, hopefully later this week, with his interview with Tuzar Skipper, which was some really good stuff. So make sure you're checking all that out. Rich, anything else you want to say?
No, other than thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And
it's always fun hanging out with you all.
And thanks for the $2, Kathy.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy, for that's $2 more dollars in the tip jar from Kathy, saying thanks goes. You are welcome, Kathy. You are welcome. It was a lot of fun. So we're going to send you off, as Lance always says. Tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. Thanks for geeking out with us.